everyone. I was working on my compost and I figured, hey, maybe this would be a good thing to share on a live. So maybe you're interested in owning some worms. This is called vermicomposting, and it's just like composting except you use worms, and they do the work and much more efficiently than just trash sitting on its own. And when I say trash, I mean food waste. Hey, Eric. Food waste and like leaves, maybe plants, maybe you have house plants, any foliage that you might clip off. Hey, Christy Lee. Hey, Dave Ridley. Any of that stuff that is too good to throw in the trash can, you can feed to your worms. So what I'm doing, this is the first time I've ever done this. Hey, Gina. Let me show you my compost bin real quick. It's just right over here. Whoa! It's a 5-tier system. I've got one of the boxes on the table right now, but you can see I've emptied that one, and I'm gonna fill it up with fresh bedding. Oh my goodness! Oh, it's clicking. Let's go up one more, huh? You can see a little better. But I've gotten through about half of it. And so what it is I'm separating the large pieces of food scraps that are still there and worms that I find, and separating it from the castings, the worm castings. So yes, basically I'm playing with poop. Anyways, so here we go. Thought you might be interested in watching this. Can't really. This is the side I've done. This is the side I haven't done. I'm leaving things like eggshells and stuff because those are good for soil. And what do I use this for? Vermicompost is great for your plants, and especially seedlings. And little pieces of paper, like newspaper and stuff, not computer paper. And here's, we eat a lot of bananas, so that takes a little while. So if you plant a seedling, you just bury it in a little bit of vermicompost. And I have seedlings that start right in the compost itself. And so the process is cut in half right there too. And I'm in a condo, and look, see, I'm just kind of sifting through it. But I have this outside, and I'm living in a condo. I'm on the 2nd floor. So anybody can do this, not just homeowners with a yard. And there's a worm. I was very surprised at how many worms I found in here because it's been really cold outside. And I hadn't done much to protect the worms yet. I was planning on, oh, here's another worm. I was planning on getting like some hay and trying to protect him from the cold, but I just figured just bring him inside. That feels like a lot more work. So this is a long process. I probably won't do this all on camera. I don't think anyone's that interested. But it is, it's nice knowing that I'm creating less trash, and then I'm not having to buy this stuff at the store, and I know that it's organic. Definitely organic. Out in one end, in one end and out the other. Apparently worms do not have brains. I don't even think they have a heart. I don't know if you can see this book here. It's called Worms Eat My Garbage. Yeah, I'll save that. And I learned a lot about composting through just that short book. There are a lot more than just worms in here too. Hey, Sarah. asked my husband to help, and he said no, he was not digging through the dirt. So I said, well, fine, you go watch the boys, and I will work in peace. There's an onion that I'd cut, and it's starting to grow. Is that an onion, or is that, it's celery. Ideally, you would cut all your scraps up into little pieces so it goes by faster. They can eat it faster. I'm just going to leave, like, seeds that haven't sprouted or whatever, just leave that. This is a very long process. I don't want to I want to get this done tonight. And it's nice and moist, the soil. I know some people don't like that word, but I don't know how else to describe it. And that's good because that means there's oxygen in the soil. That's how the worms breathe. There's another little worm. Another banana piece. What's that? Onion. Whoa, look at this. Yeah, see, this was my husband. He did not cut it. Hey, Timothy. Giant chunk of celery. Or is that leek? I think that's a leek. So, I'm going to cut that myself. Oh, here's, ooh, that's a good size worm right there. That's a good sign. Oh, and that's another thing I had been doing and had planned on doing throughout the winter was hot composting just outside, which means keeping a wet layer of the bedding, like leaves and shredded paper. And here's another worm. And so the more you add to it, the hotter the soil gets, naturally. So, and that was, I'd watched a few videos on that, and they would check the temperature, and it would get over 100 degrees. Well, 100 degrees isn't good, because then they would die, so I don't think it was 100 degrees. But it was freezing outside, and the worms were thriving. Not just surviving, but thriving. I don't know what this is. I feel like it's a giant, it wouldn't be an avocado seed, do you think? Think that would be an avocado seed? Hey, Jennifer, can you put eggshells in the compost? Yes, yes. I've got lots of eggshells in here. So I'll put some that I've ground up so it's in a fine powder, and then there are some like big eggshells because they like to make nests in there. Hey, Ashley. And eggshells are really good for plants. They provide calcium to the soil and to the plants. So I keep all my food scraps, and even like small pieces. I don't eat a lot of meat anymore, but even small pieces of meat. We'll do like a chicken, a whole chicken, and so I save the bones and make chicken broth a lot. But I haven't really been buying a lot of meat lately, and I haven't really missed it that much, to be honest. And I feel better. The only thing is, I told my husband, I said, the only thing about not, about eating more healthy is I think our farts stink a little more. What's the saying with the beans? Beans, they're good for your heart. The more you eat, the more you fart. And it's amazing how much food is not in here, how much scraps is not in here, because you can't see the bucket, I don't have it here, but it's about a small trash can. It's about maybe a little smaller than this size trash can. It's full of paper, shredded paper. And I fill that up like once a week. 3 young boys. We do go through a lot of food waste. What I can't use in the stock and what may have rotted or something will go in here. And even the junk mail gets shredded up. That's what I use for bedding. It's really good for bedding. You see, here's a. You see that? It's a little seedling. This has been in here forever, but it's. I don't even remember what this is from. It's almost like a piece. I think it's a piece of wood, maybe from my basil plant that I had. I had a giant basil plant in my hydroponic unit, and it just got way too big. That was the first time I had ever done it, so I didn't know what I was doing. I can put that in here. See that? I had trimmed a plant, so here we go. Hey, Sarah! I have pet worms in my kitchen. I just brought them in tonight. I've had them inside before, but during the summer I wanted to keep them outside. I mean, might as well while it's nice. Here's like a grape stem. Not seeing. So the worms don't like light. So I've had the light on for a while. So most of them are probably hiding deep under the soil. We'll find more the deeper down we get in here. Part of the leaf. There's a bunch of seeds. I'm thinking that must be from. You think that's a cherry pit? I don't know. So if it's been in here a while, I'm just gonna add it to the castings. So it's been in here for a while. I haven't bought cherries in a while. Gotten through quite a bit. Just sifting through, and there's all kinds of different methods. This is just the easiest method for what my living situation is. Sebastian is walking, and he's very curious and pulling on everything. There's a worm. So it's just easier to do it this way. Another method would be to lay out a giant sheet or something, or just do it directly on the floor if you want, of your garage if you have one. I do not. And then, so you dump the whole tray out, and then separate them into smaller piles, and then the process goes much quicker, because then you don't have to sift through a huge pile like this. Oh, here's some soup too. Lots of stuff. So what kind of food scraps do you go through a lot? Coffee grounds are a good one. That's perfect. That's really good for the worms. I don't have coffee grounds because I use the instant coffee, which I prefer because I don't have a coffee maker. Little leaves. Vine. You hear the robot in the background. What are you doing? Cleaning the soil? Yeah, I'm separating the worms and large food scraps and chunks of paper. I'm separating it from the worm castings so I can set out the worm castings and use in my planting. Before we got a paper shredder, I would sit there with the kids and just shred up a bunch of paper. And that's how I taught the boys to use the scissors and everything. And Jasper's left-handed, so I had to buy special scissors for him. How often do you have to do that? Oh, this is the first time I've done this, actually. I probably should have done it sooner. I got this, yeah, I don't remember when I got it. It was already, oh gosh, it's been at least 6 months. So, in the book, she said, and it all depends. If you want all the worms to just make it completely usable without having to sift through it, then they'll eventually die, and then you just buy more worms the next go around once they've converted all of it. Or you could do the method where I'm doing, where it's about medium, about every 4 to 6 months, or you could do it very often. And another method that I read about was she takes the tray, and there are different trays, different types of trays. I have a 5-tier set that goes vertical. Some people just use something like, kind of like this, but you need a cover. And what she suggested was to split it in half. So you push everything that's already used to one side and put the fresh bedding on the other half, and then the worms will migrate. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm just refreshing one tier, and then they're all gonna migrate to the fresh bedding with the fresh scraps and everything. That's the goal, anyways. My hands are cold because the soil is very cold. I think it was they can survive to 40 degrees. And it's been in the 20s here, so I was worried that they might have all died. But it looks really good, actually. There's going to be several in the other 4 tiers. Bread is another good one. You can put fruit. They don't really like citrus fruit so much, so only a little bit of that at a time. Some people don't even compost their citrus. My arm's getting sore. And then I think you could, instead of doing it by hand like I'm doing, you could buy or make your own, like, large sifter. I've seen videos of people that have, like, giant sifters for this exact thing. I don't have a lot of storage space. Oh, here's a, see, a giant thing of eggshells. We need a lot of eggshells, so I do have to grind them up quite a bit. Lots of banana peels. Oh, poor Jasper's. Just play with my pet worms. You don't have to do this with your hands either. Doesn't bother me. So how do you like my hemp shirt? I love it. Wish I could grow some hemp plants. That would be fun. I haven't seen a worm in a minute. And I'll probably go through this again tomorrow. Just in case I missed a worm or two. I don't want any of them to die if they don't have to. Almost done! And then I can show you how I prepared the bedding. What the heck is that? Almost done. Really don't have to be this thorough, but it's just how I do things. Jasper likes helping with the worms. Alright, well, that's it for now. Here, I'm going to do this. Oh, I missed one big thing. Let's see what I missed here. So, too big to talk. See if any worms start squirming. Yeah, like I said, this is the first time I'm harvesting my worms, as they say. A lot of stuff. What's interesting about the worms is if there's not enough food or if it's low quality bedding, they just stop procreating. They stop producing babies. And then they continue when the soil's fresh. I don't really know what the little cocoons look like yet. I don't know, I should look that up. But anyway, so that's that. This is what I've saved out of there. Oh, look. Look at that. Can you see that? Hey, Carrie. Look, hey, Laura. The whole bowl came from that one drawer. Yes, one layer. Hey, Carla. Okay, so I just peeled open the leeks, and there, oh, the leeks smell so good. There are worms squirming around in here. Let's see if I can do this without dropping anything. Can you see the worms inside there? That's a good way to keep warm, yeah? Oh, I feel bad. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. I'll let them stay in there. So, they like leeks. And you can't see the books over here. I'll show you that towards the end after I wash my hands. But I keep a journal of everything that I do so that I learn from the process. Alright, so here comes Sebastian. I hope he doesn't mess with it. Oh, first I need to... So that's the composting system. And so I got lots of shredded paper here, right? And then, depending on what part of the country you're from, you can get coconut coir, which is supposed to be really good for vermicomposting. But I have peat moss. It says Canadian sphagnum peat moss. Premium organic natural soil conditioner. So. And then you want to get it nice and wet. I'm going to put the paper on top, actually. Can you see this? I just want enough to cover the food scraps. And it takes more water than you'd expect. Fun fact, if you leave your water sitting out overnight, a lot of the yucky stuff evaporates out of it. And this part is better to use a fork because this stuff sticks to your hand like crazy. Coconut coir is cool because it comes as a brick and then you can, it expands after you moisten it. So just enough to where it feels like when you squeeze it, it feels wet. You don't want it to be too wet because then they'll drown. I think that was actually enough. Maybe I was pouring too much water before. Hey, I'm still learning. Yeah, because I can feel... Can you hear that? Squeak, squeak, squeak. Set this here. Look, Nathan. I peeled the leaf open and there's worms squirming around inside of here. It's really cool. Alright, so lift this up. I'm not even going to add any new stuff because that's a lot of food scraps. And you want to cover the food with at least 1 or 2 inches of soil. I'm not going to mess with it too much. I want to startle the little baby worms. Okay. And then dump it on. Might need more. The better covered the scraps are, the less of a smell you'll get. If it stinks, then there's a pH problem going on. So you can... It's wise to get a pH tester if you're worried about that. And they're very cheap. And I will add more soil. Where did my bag go? I'm just gonna... I got this system on Etsy from a guy out in Colorado. That's what I got. And he recommended to What is that? Like a little baby roach. I'm gonna get that out of here. What was he saying? Oh, he said to coat it with walnut oil, so we did that, and that's supposed to help with the wood, but it still gets really wet. What is that for? There's a tray, a drip tray, so it catches any of the leachate, which is the water that leaks out from below, and that's really good. You dilute that and use it to water your plants. That feels good, maybe too much water. No, we're fine. Okay, you can't see any of the food scraps anymore. Get some of this paper. Not too much. There. And so, let's get this way a little bit too. So apparently the newspaper prints with soy ink, and that's safe for the worms. You don't want to use glossy paper like magazine paper. You don't want to put any plastic. Most people will tell you to not put any dairy products or meat, but I say it's okay if you're only doing a little bit, because I mean they'll eat it. They will definitely eat it, but it will cause a smell. Really, is the problem. And if it's outside, you might be attracting large rodents and whatnot. All right, now I'm just gonna put this on top. Now you can even put hair in here, but you don't want to put too much of that kind of stuff. A nice mixture. Keep it balanced. And again, check your pH if you're worried. If it has a smell. Alright. And this just helps retain moisture in the soil. Yes, I said it. So, but hey, Crystal. My pet worms. I can't have a dog or a cat, so I found a way around paying a rent pet bill. Okay, so that's it, and now close the lid and let them eat. So, thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something. Let me know if you compost too. I'm in some groups, and it's a great community where you can learn and share ideas. Have a good night.